Pets of all kinds. So dogs, cats, snakes, any kind of pet that you can think of. Quiet walks on a graveyard and taking pictures of flowers. That is my best friend's definition of an amazing, wonderful life. So she works at a kennel. She's actually manager of a kennel where she takes care of dogs and cats and pets of all sorts. All her neighbors know her as the one who takes care of injured animals. So she's taken care of squirrels and opossums and turtles and tadpoles and any kind of animal that you can think of. And she lives a perfectly contented life where she feels accomplished and fulfilled because she's getting to do what she absolutely loves. Now, at some point in her life, my friend bought into this notion that you needed to do certain things and you needed to check off certain boxes in order to be successful. So she tried her hand at going to college. That didn't work for her. She tried her hand at becoming a real estate agent. In fact, she took the real estate exam 7 times. I think that might be some sort of a record. She never passed it. So I'm from the outside looking at her. Anybody who doesn't know her and knows these things about her might think she's a failure. But in fact, I consider her a great success story. And I love the life that she's built. And I love everything that she's created. But from a traditional standpoint, from what society might expect of her, and from what even close people to her might have expected, she might seem like she hasn't experienced success. She doesn't have any children. She's divorced. She didn't pass her real estate exam, like I just mentioned, but she's created a life where she feels fulfillment and where she is actually using her God-given talents and abilities to help other people and to do something that she's passionate about and that she cares about. So I think that today, on our 10 minutes at 10 a.m. for a 10 level life, we should talk about redefining success. One of my favorite quotes when it comes to success was actually a saying by Earl Nightingale. He said in one of his famous recordings that success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. In fact, I think he repeats that in all of them, but lead the field is the one that I'm thinking about. And I love that definition of success, the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Now, in order for us to feel successful, we have been taught traditionally that we need to accomplish certain things, that we need to check certain things off the box. But if we're going to lead a 10 level life, we need to understand that trying to live by other people's definition of success is actually a recipe for disaster, for frustration, for lack of fulfillment, for dissatisfaction, for feeling like you take one step forward and three steps back and like you're always spinning your wheels because you are working towards something that is not what you were created and designed to do. See, I believe, and you're going to hear this over and over and over and over, that each of us was created with a specific gift we get to bring into the world. And until and unless we tap into that gift, we will go around kind of floundering and we might experience quote unquote success from an outsider's perspective, but we will never feel fully successful, fulfilled, satisfied, and like we're doing something meaningful until we are making progressive movement in the direction of that worthy goal or ideal, which more often than not is going to line up with and converge with that calling that was placed upon your life when you were created. All right. Now, you don't have to agree with me in all of my faith and my beliefs and all that, but just understand this. You have something to bring to the world. And until you figure out what that is and you start taking steps towards bringing that into the world, you're not going to feel the level of true success, fulfillment, and satisfaction that you can feel. So, we are going to talk about three quick things today that you can start doing right now that are going to help propel you towards that progressive realization of your worthy goal or ideal so that you can start feeling successful today. And you don't have to wait to check things off the box. You don't have to wait until you accomplish certain things. The fact that you are working towards the thing makes you successful already. And also, makes you a leader worth following. So here are the three things. First one, you need to know yourself. You need to be brutally honest with yourself about where you are, the things that you like about where you are, the things you really dislike about where you are, the things you might even hate. And I know that's a strong word, but the things you might even hate about where you are, the things that are working, the things that are not. Then you need to be really brutally honest about where you want to go. What is it that you really want? Not what did everybody tell you it should look like, not what did others pin on you, not what did your mom or your dad or your cousin or your brother or your sister or your teacher or anybody else told you that it should look like for you, but what you really want. And once you know where you are and where you really want to go, that is a huge first step in knowing yourself. But knowing yourself also involves knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. See, the system, and we are going to go through this really quickly because it's 10 minutes, but the system would have us believe that the way to succeed is to work on our weaknesses. So they put you in remedial classes and they push you to try to get the A when you're actually comfortable with a C, and they push you to try and do all these things to be better and good at things that you're not, instead of helping you advance and get even better at the things that you are already good at. And that doesn't mean that you can't grow. I believe in a growth mindset. I think it's important. But if you're focusing most of your effort and time on getting good at things you're not good at, you're going to feel a lot of frustration. Instead, if you focus on the things that you are strong at and that you are good at, then you're going to feel enough of a drive and enough success inside of you to give you the what you need, right? To stand up to the criticism and the not doing so well that comes from trying to elevate something that you're weak at, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, decide what you want. Decide what you really want. Now, I know that for a lot of us listening here, this probably sounds extremely selfish. And I'm not condoning the me, me, me mentality. I think that a big part of what is not going well with the world right now is that we're all too focused on ourselves. But here's the thing. Remember what I told you before, that I believe you were born with something only you can bring into the world the way only you can bring it? If you are trying to please and satisfy everybody else around you, then you're going to lose sight of what that is and what that looks like for you. So, unless you can tap back into what your true desire is, that thing that lights you up, that thing that makes you feel like you're making a difference in the world, that thing, it's not necessarily a passion, but it's something that keeps driving you. It's something that keeps popping up. It's something that you might have tried to push off at some point, but it just keeps bubbling back up and it keeps coming back into your life. So think about what that is that you really want, because 99.9% of the time, it will point you to that calling, to that thing that only you can do in this special, amazing way that you were designed to do, right? And the last thing is Go for No. There's actually a book called Go for No. It's tiny, quick read. I recommend you read it. I don't necessarily agree with everything on there, but I do agree with this. We have mislabeled failure. If you think back to your children, if you have children, or any toddler that you have seen learning to walk, we celebrate every time they fall. We're like, yay, you got up and you fell. You're doing so great. Get back up again. And celebrating those failures is what actually allows these toddlers to one day get up and walk and then start running, because they're not afraid to not do it right, quote unquote, right? And so they keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. Somewhere along the line, usually around the time we get to school, we start learning that not doing it right the first time is not good. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. If we don't keep testing theories, if we don't keep trying, if we don't keep putting ourselves out there in one way or another and risking not getting it right, we will never get to the level of innovation and the level of advancement that we want. Think of any good invention, think of any powerful invention that has changed history. It went through many iterations and many moments in which it did not work quite the way it was supposed to. In fact, some of the greatest accomplishments in human existence and human history started out as mistakes, started out as failures. The phone was supposed to be an hearing aid. Oh, and a hearing aid, sorry, a hearing aid, right? The post-it note, the glue for the post-it note was supposed to be a permanent glue that would never be removed, that would be stronger than crazy glue, and it's actually removable, right? So a lot of the greatest accomplishments in human history started out as mistakes or failures. So give yourself the space to go for no, to go for that failure, to go for that moment, and in fact, invite it into your life. Deliberately create moments in which you are at risk of failing and try and see what happens and use them as experiments to move forward. All right. So we are going to continue this conversation where we redefine success and failure, where we understand that they go hand in hand and they are part of each other, two sides of the same coin, and where we start taking action, making deliberate progress in the direction of our dreams. I will see you next time on the next 10 10 10. Chat soon.